We got cut off last time, so let him continue. While I sit here doing nothing.
You'll get to speak, don't worry.
And it's not find the story enjoyable. But anyways, continue.
Not that enjoyable, I'm enjoying it.
Well, I don't read fanfiction, so.
It was huge, different than my own, that's for sure, but the strange thing was that not only was it long, but it seemed thick and stiff, but more than that, touchable. I quickly pulled myself out of the daze I caught myself in as he turned off the water. As he started stepping out, I ran as fast as I could back to my own room, locking it and plopping down on my bed. Yeah. Hoping he hadn't seen me, I merely sat and reflected on what I had just done and witnessed. Needless to say, I was hard. Again. For hours, I just sat there, occasionally touching my erection, but trying not to masturbate. When I was about to shut my eyes, I heard a sudden knock at the door. Who was it at this hour? It was midnight. I tried to be as still as I can under my blanket so they'd think I was asleep and just leave, but it didn't work. After minutes of silence, I could hear my door creak open. Fear started to overwhelm me, but still I sat motionless. I thought I locked that door.
Hold on, I was drinking. Eren. Ow.
You okay?
I hit my head on the bed. I'm sorry. Just continue with your whatever reading.
I suddenly knew why my door opened. Levi entered and called to me. He had the keys to all the rooms in the building. He closed the door behind him and locked it again. I wasn't sure where he was.
Hold on, pause. Continue.
Damn it. Oh yeah, I wasn't sure where he was. It was pitch black. I waited until I couldn't anymore. I sat up and pulled open the blinds of my window. Levi? I looked around until I spotted him, there leaning against my wall, in his jean pants and nothing more. He had his arms folded and one leg to support himself, while the other was bent so he could press the bottom of his shoe onto the wall. He had his usual not amused look on his face, almost hidden by the shadows.
Took you long enough.
He scowled. I pulled the covers to my chest as I sat up, trying to cover my exposed skin, only being in my underwear. What the hell are you doing in my room? I was panicking a bit. He stood there in the lingering silence without saying a word. He did this until I saw what looked like a light fondness in his expression, but this was only for a moment. He walked over and sat on the edge of my bed.
Why were you in my room while I was taking a shower earlier?
What is with that voice?
I don't know.
He seemed serious. I flinched at the thought of what I saw. How did you... I panicked a bit more. What was he going to do to me?
I could see you in the mirror,
he stated bluntly. Shivers were sent down my spine when he ripped the blanket off my body and pinned me tightly by my wrists to the bed. He got on top of me to make sure I stayed down. Hey! Let go! I tried to struggle, but his grip was tight, especially for someone of his size.
You were watching me while I was naked, weren't you?
He hit the mark. My face flustered a passionate red, and I clamped my eyes shut as fast as I could, preparing myself for a punch to the face. But that wasn't what I got. Instead, I felt soft, tender, and forceful lips against mine. I opened my eyes wide from surprise. Levi was leaned down on top of me and kissing me passionately. He stopped when he realized my eyes were open. As soon as he dropped his guard, I instinctively threw him off me and covered my mouth with my hand. Oh, what the fuck? What was that for? I stuttered and tried to hide my blush.
Does it matter? You liked it.
He was right. He was He was perfectly calm as well, the direct opposite of me. After a minute or two, I sighed and moved my hands to my lap, unable to look him in the eyes. Look, it's not like I'm gay or anything, but I trailed off into silence. I couldn't finish. Levi waited for me to finish, but was too impatient. I lifted my head and at the notice of his slight movement. He was stripping. Completely surprised, I tried to look away, but I couldn't. The way he tugged his jeans all the way down to his ankles made it impossible for me to look away. When he noticed me staring, he stopped.
Wait, what? Wait, what is it?
Here, at the top.
What is it? Strip already.
He demanded me in a commanding voice and went back to take off his clothes. He took his pants off his ankles and started taking off his briefs. I blushed hard. Wait, what are you doing? I tried not to look at him. He stopped once again and sighed.
Isn't it obvious? We're gonna have sex. Now this is an order, Jaeger. Strip!
He demanded more harsh this time. I blushed darkly. What the fuck have I gotten myself into? Though I felt skeptical, I did as I was told and started sliding off my boxers. He waited patiently until I put them on the ground. He slowly grabbed my arm and pulled me into a long and sweet kiss. He made sure to take it slow so I would kiss back. He was actually a better kisser than I thought. Like, he's had years of practice. Are you a good kisser?
I don't know.
I placed my arms... I don't know. I placed my arms around his neck and he pinned me down without without breaking away from the kiss. Before I knew it, he slipped his tongue into my mouth and explored. He got every place in my mouth he could. He even went as far as to suck my tongue a bit. While he kissed me, he snaked his hands up my sides and started rubbing over my nipples with rough fingertips. I pulled away from him to get air, and that led to a small moan when he sucked a nipple slightly. He rolled his tongue on my sensitive spot, and I flinched each time. How much longer do we have? How much longer do we have? Hold on, okay.
We started with 14, now we have 8.
Oh god. He rolled his tongue on my sensitive spot, and I flinched each time he bit gently. I flinched and gasped loudly, keeping in a loud moan by biting down on my lower lip. As we continued, I began to get harder and harder until eventually I felt a cold, skinny hand grasp it. I gasped and flinched. Levi had a firm grip on it. Hey! I shuddered slightly and tried to get his cold hand off. He let go and let a small smile crack, one that was almost impossible to detect.
Come on, let's just do this already.
He pulled my legs back and waited for me to grab them. Grab them? Grab what? What am I grabbing? I held them at the joints so he could see everything. Once he figured out he hadn't brought lubricant with him, he swiftly put 2 fingers in my mouth, drenching them in saliva, then shoving one of them deep into my anus. I made a yelp from pain and clung to him tightly. He moved his fingers swiftly in and out before adding another, spreading the opening wide so it could fit. I moaned this time. Wait, I haven't been moaning at all? Hard. Dude, I would have been moaning so much. hardly able to control myself this time. He moved them both faster than last time, in and out until he reached max speed, and suddenly spread them wide while they were inside me. It hurt, but instead of a yelp or a moan, he muffled my pleasured noise with another kiss.
Quiet, Jaeger. These walls aren't soundproof.
You sound so mad at me. He muttered. Yeah, he muttered.
Oh.
He ripped his fingers out of my anus and...
Quiet, Jaeger. These walls aren't soundproof.
Quiet, Jaeger. These walls aren't soundproof.
However, she did it.
What?
He did it. She did it. Whoever you are.
Okay, we got 4 minutes left. He ripped his fingers out of my anus and flipped me over so I was facing away from him while he grabbed his erected member and aligned it with my entrance. I'm ready. Without even asking me if I was ready, which I just said I am, he started to shove the 15-centimeter long object even deeper into me than his fingers could reach. I grabbed the nearest pillow and moaned loudly into it. My moans are what drove him to shove it deeper, slamming the last bit in so it will all fit. I practically screamed into the pillow this time. It was just loud enough for him to hear, but not loud enough to reach the other rooms. At first he merely let it throb inside me, but when he was ready, he started moving. I twitched and flinched at every sudden movement it made while inside me. He went slow at first, not moving it as quickly as he could, so I wouldn't be overwhelmed, but only took a few hard thrusts to start turning to pounds. He pounded forcefully into me, watching my body move with the force of the pushes. I made tons of moans and noises I never knew I could until now. It felt good. Levi! I'm sorry I had to. I removed my mouth to moan his name out of pleasure. It seemed to turn him on more, but he quickly started pounding even harder.
Let's see how loud he can get without waking the others.
He was whispering in a taunting tone.
Let's see how loud he can get without waking the others.
He was whispering in a taunting tone, practically challenging me to be louder. His thrusts soon got powerful enough to move the entire bed in the direction he moved it. Ow! Fuck! Harder! I don't know why, but I couldn't help but moan for harder pounds. He gladly obliged, using my hips to slam my anus hard onto his member and making me move my hips at the same time. This caused immense pleasure and pain at the same time. Oh my god, we have like a minute.
We'll have to go.
No!
Bye, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. We don't got much time left. Continue it in third part.